Bill Tanner, a retired USPS mail carrier, ran a local haunted house that had become quite well known in the city where he lived. It was called Tanner's House of Horrors, and it had been established as a terrifying and fun way to unleash people's greatest fears upon them. People would come from miles away just to spend a little under an hour in his intricate maze of morbid wonder, designed to scare them silly. This haunted house was a dream come true for horror enthusiasts and people just looking to have a good time, especially during Halloween week. So it would come to surprise many folks when Bill Tanner, the self-proclaimed king of horror house, began to speak privately with friends about shutting his business down. Rumor had it Bill believed something very real was haunting Tanner's House of Horrors. At first, folks thought he was joking, but when his best friend Sam spoke to Bill, he discovered that something was definitely wrong. "What do you mean, really haunted, Bill?" Sam Willis asked, Bill's best friend. Bill shook his head, looking at the sandwich on his plate. "There's someone in there, Sam. Someone's sick," Bill replied. Sam took a bite of his burger, pointing at Bill as he chewed. "You sure your haunted house ain't getting the best of you, buddy?" Bill looked around nervously. No, trust me. I'm not afraid of my creation, but I am afraid of what's hiding in there." Sam gave Bill a confused look. "Hiding? Like what?" Bill sighed and looked his friend in the eye. "You're gonna think I'm crazy, but there's a clown in there." Sam almost choked on his food and began to laugh when he saw the fear in Bill's eyes. He wiped his mouth with a napkin and leaned in close. "Oh my God, you're serious, aren't you?" Bill slowly nodded and looked around once more. "I wouldn't be telling you this if I didn't think something was really wrong. Hell, I want to shut the place down because I'm afraid of this damn clown. It isn't some person in my clown costume, Sam. There's something else. Something wacko." Sam took a sip of his lemonade and rested his hands on top of his head. "So it's a guy in a costume?" Bill downed the rest of his coffee and sighed heavily. "I don't know. All I know is he freaked me the hell out. He keeps getting inside the haunted house, and I don't know how the hell he does it. I even called the police, but they couldn't find anybody in there. Deep down, I know they wouldn't. I know the damn maze like the back of my hand, and if I can't find that clown, I knew they wouldn't either. They couldn't do much anyway besides file a suspicious person report." Sam shook his head in disbelief and gave his friend a concerned look. "Halloween is tomorrow, Bill. That's your biggest admission day. What are you gonna do?" Bill sat back in his chair and fiddled with what was left of his sandwich. "I don't know. I can't let all those people down, but that clown just scares the crap out of me, Sam. I don't know why he's in there, and what he wants. But he just seems to enjoy tormenting me whenever I'm in there. Thankfully the customers haven't mentioned him, but I don't want to take any chances with that damn clown." "What about the staff? Have they seen him?" Bill shook his head and scratched his chin. "That's what trips me up, Sam. Not once. I'm the only one who seems to run into him." "Man, what's the plan then?" Bill finished chewing a bite of his sandwich and pointed at Sam. "I'm shutting it down, Sam. I'm not going to give this guy a chance to really hurt someone." "I understand, Bill. I think you're making the right call," said Sam. Bill gave a disheartened shrug of his shoulders and looked out the window. "I sure as hell hope so." The next day, Bill went over to Tanner's House of Horrors and let the staff know they wouldn't have to commit to the long Halloween shift. He arrived at the haunted house to see Kevin and Natalie setting up the entrance displays. As he approached them, he felt someone bump into him from behind. He let out a half-hearted chuckle when he saw it was Michael Myers. "Nice try, Gregory," Bill said. Michael Myers slumped his head in disappointment. Gregory pulled off the chalk-faced mask and ran a hand through his dark, wavy hair. "Are you scared of anything, Bill?" Gregory asked. Bill patted him on the shoulder. "Wouldn't you like to know?" Bill said, giving Gregory a sad smile. He walked up to the staff and sighed. Kevin seemed to notice something was off about Bill's behavior and stopped measuring a zombie cutout for the haunted house window. "Uh-oh, I know that face. What's wrong, Bill?" he asked. Natalie stood next to Kevin, a look of concern written on her face as well. Bill looked at them sadly and at the haunted house. "Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but we aren't opening for Halloween tonight." Gregory gave Kevin and Natalie a dumbfounded look and shook his head. Natalie folded her tattoo arms, clearly upset. "Bill, you can't be serious. Your Halloween opening is the most important one," she exclaimed. Bill hung his head and nodded. I know. Listen, guys, I don't want to do this, but I have a very good reason. The house isn't safe." "What do you mean, isn't safe? This isn't about the weird clown you saw a few times, is it?" Kevin inquired. "Actually, no, Kevin. There's been some issues with the structural integrity of the ceiling inside that I was made aware of the other day. I called in an expert, and he said that part of the building was slowly caving in," Bill lied. Kevin nodded, although Bill could sense he was skeptical of the explanation. "Isn't there anything you can do, Bill? Just close off that part of the maze and redirect the customers," Natalie suggested. Bill looked at her sadly, wishing he didn't have to weave this blatantly deceitful tale to his team. For a moment, he thought he should just tell them the truth, that he thought there was a very real, very disturbed clown stalking the haunted house. Then he realized just how ludicrous it was to tell them something he had no evidence to back up. They'd think me an old fool for shutting down my business because of a clown, he thought. "No, I wish I could. There's just no time. It'll affect other parts of the tour that I've planned out perfectly. Sucks that this had to happen on Halloween, too. It's a damn shame." "But a lot of people are expecting you to open, Bill. How are we going to let all those people down?" Gregory interjected, a hint of distress in his voice. Bill took a seat near the admission booth and sighed deeply. "Guys, trust me, I feel bad as it is. I really wish there was another way, but there isn't. Look, you guys know I've been doing this for years now. I love it and you know it. So when I say I have to shut the place down tonight, it's for a damn good reason." Kevin, Gregory, and Natalie looked at each other, disappointment written on their faces. Bill slowly stood up and put a hand in his pocket. He pulled out his wallet and removed 3 bills. He held up the money to his trio to see. "I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm even going to pay you a little extra for your trouble." He handed them each a bill. "Bill, $100? No, that's just too much. I mean, we didn't even do anything," Kevin said. Bill shook his head and gave him a sad smile. "Guys, look, it's the least I can do. You guys have been the best team a crazy old man could ask for. Take the night off and enjoy Halloween." "So when can we expect to be called back? This isn't going to take long, is it, Bill?" Kevin asked. "No, don't worry, Kevin. A few days at most. I know a good contractor who's going to come in first thing tomorrow morning and get started. I'll call you guys as soon as it's done." Kevin shook Bill's hand and nodded. "Thanks, Bill." Gregory and Natalie thanked the old man also and took off. As he watched his staff walk away, Bill couldn't help but feel ashamed. Not for the decision of sending them off, but for lying to a group of people who he knew respected and admired his passion for his haunted house. Bill started locking up the place and posting a few makeshift signs, letting folks know that Tanner's House of Horrors would be unfortunately closed due to maintenance. He knew that he'd get a lot of backlash for closing on Halloween, but what else could he do? It was better than somebody getting attacked by a malicious clown. As he passed by the displays directly inside the entrance to the haunted house, he suddenly heard somebody chuckling behind him. Bill realized that whoever was behind him had blocked his only exit. Afraid to turn around, Bill cleared his throat. "Who are you? What do you want?" After a few moments of silence, he heard the person slowly walk towards him, the distinct sound of loud squeaking coming from his shoes. Terrified, Bill spun around and screamed when he saw it was the mysterious clown that had been haunting his attraction. Stumbling backwards in fear, Bill fell to the ground, his hands held out in front of him. The disturbing clown just stared at the old man, smiling at him with crimson lips. He had wild lavender-colored eyes with messy indigo locks of hair that fell on his shoulders. His face was painted white with blue diamonds around his crazed irises. He wore a tattered blue and red checkered costume, including a large red tie loosely hung around his neck. The clown slowly raised a gloved hand, and Bill could see that he held a balloon twisted into the shape of a person. Bill watched in horror as the clown pulled a large butcher knife from his trousers and pointed at him, then popped the balloon. The clown began laughing maniacally, waving the knife in the air as he danced in place. Bill quickly got to his feet and balled his fists in anger. He looked around and picked up an axe prop next to the headless victim dummy laying to his left. The old man raised the axe threateningly. "Get the hell out of here! Leave, or else I'm gonna beat the shit out of you!" Bill yelled. His voice was shaky. The clown stopped dancing immediately and tilted his head to one side. He wagged his finger in disagreement with Bill and grinned. Just then, the clown reached behind him and clutched the silver handle of the haunted house's entrance door. "Happy Halloween!" the clown yelled, laughing hysterically. He slammed the door shut and Bill was thrown into darkness. Sweating with fear, he clutched the axe prop close to his chest, trying to find the light switch. Reaching along the wall, he found it and flipped it. To his surprise, he remained in the dark. Bill backed up against the wall, listening to the mad laughter of the demented clown that stood somewhere in front of him. All of a sudden, the laughter was abruptly stopped. Bill stood and listened carefully, but could hear no other sounds but his own terrified breathing. Just then, he felt the clown's hot breath on his neck, followed by a low chuckle. Bill closed his eyes, trembling from head to toe. "Just leave. I don't know what you want." After a few moments of the raspy, labored breathing on his breath, the clown finally spoke. "It's your turn to be scared," he said. Realizing that this was his very life at stake, Bill swung the prop wildly over his head and was surprised to find that the faux axe had met the clown's head with a sickening thud. He heard the demented clown moan in pain and crash into something behind them. Bill took the opportunity to run blindly into the dark, looking for the haunted house's entrance door. He yelled in relief when his hand found the handle of the door, but his relief evaporated when he found that it was locked. Breaking away from the door, he ran past the crazy clown and into the haunted house maze. His only hope was to reach the exit on the other end. Bill dripped with sweat as he stumbled through the maze, feeling his way through the attraction. Without the faint dim of the hallway bulbs situated along the floor, the maze proved to be a bit more difficult even with his knowledge of the haunted house's path. He quickened the pace when he heard a loud crash behind him, realizing the clown was on his heels. Stricken with panic, he accidentally tripped on something and collided with what felt like a life-size replica of the werewolf from An American Werewolf in London. The werewolf collapsed onto Bill, pinning him in the display corner behind the makeshift tree he designed. As he struggled against the werewolf's weight, he heard the creepy clown whistling down the hall. Bill desperately tried to push the werewolf off of him without drawing too much attention to himself, but he couldn't find the strength to escape the furry prop. He decided to try to keep quiet, hoping the lunatic hunting him would pass him by. Bill heard the methodical sound of the clown's shoes as he approached. Shutting his eyes, he waited for the clown to lumber past him. When the squeaking had gotten to its loudest, it suddenly stopped. Bill tried to make out anything across the wide hall, trying to see the clown in the darkness. Suddenly, he heard the clown utter a low chuckle. "Where are you, Mr. Turner? Are you playing hide-and-seek now?" asked the clown, almost like he was singing a melody. Bill remained silent, trying to pinpoint where the clown was. He scanned the dark void before him, but it was like trying to find something with a blindfold on. It was hopeless. He was waiting a few minutes before he heard the clown speak once more. "You know, Bill, this could end well for you. All you have to admit is that you're scared. All you have to do is say you don't want to play anymore." Goddamn psycho, Bill thought. Like hell I'm gonna say that. Bill didn't know if the clown knew where he was, but he wasn't gonna give himself up like that. He knew the psychopath wasn't going to let anything end well. After what seemed like an eternity of silence, Bill heard something that he didn't expect. It was a laugh, but a laugh unlike the clown's. It was a female laugh, and he heard the clown cry out in surprise. Bill was shocked to hear the clown stumble back, his shoes sounding like mice doing a quick dance as he tried to regain his footing. Who's there?" the clown asked. his voice hinting a drop of fear. Bill waited for the response, hoping that he could team up with the unknown woman in taking down the crazed clown. After a few moments, the woman laughed once more, closely followed by the clown screaming in terror. Bill trained his eyes, trying to see just what the hell was going on. He could hear the clown struggling against the unknown force, crying out as somebody or something attacked him. It sounded like he was getting ripped apart, and Bill tried to shut his cries of agony out. Giggling was heard soon after, which made Bill's blood run cold. Within a few minutes, the giggling woman had stopped, and all Bill could hear was someone softly breathing. Who the hell is that? Bill went to war with himself over crying out to her, trying to decide if it was a good idea or a terrible mistake. The next few moments, fear gripped Bill's body as he waited for whoever it was that just murdered the clown to speak. Then, as an aura of light illuminated the hallway, Bill could finally see who murdered the crazed clown. Standing over the fresh corpse of the clown was a female clown, her eyes as red as the blood dripping down her chin after apparently feasting on him. She had long, red, curly hair, and she smiled at Bill with crimson lips. She wore a green and red jacket with candy-striped stockings, gore-covered white gloves, and dark red jack boots. Bill looked at the dismembered clown at her feet, what was left of his face in a state of eternal shock. The cannibalistic female clown cocked her head to the side and gave Bill a smile as he stared at her, mouth agape. She skipped over to Bill playfully, arms behind her back. Bill struggled with every fiber of his body to get out of his vulnerable position, as he flailed like a wounded seal, waiting for the jaws of a great white to tear into him and be consumed. The female clown stood in front of Bill, still smiling as he shook with fear. She raised a bloody, gloved hand to her lips. "Shh! You have to be quiet, or else more will come." What do you mean, more?" She laughed and placed her hands on her hips. "You thought he was the only one? Oh no. He was just one of us. He was one of our kind." "Your kind? What the hell are you talking about?" Bill demanded. "Our kind. The clowns. All of us that live in the haunted house." Bill shook his head incredulously. "No. How can that be possible?" She chuckled. "You just never noticed us, Bill. Once you saw him, you can now see us. Don't you see? This place created us. You created us." "I didn't do a damn thing. Get away from me," Bill screamed. "Why, Bill? You made me. The fear in this place made me. Your fear." Bill glared at her. I'm not afraid of you." She tilted her head, shaking her long red locks. "Yes, you are, Bill. You know you're afraid of us. That's what made us. This environment helped breed us." "Just get the hell away from me," Bill interrupted. "Leave me alone." The clown shook her head. "I can't do that, Bill. You're mine now." Bill motioned to the dead clown over her shoulder, craning his head. "Then why did you kill him? Isn't he one of you? Why did you save me?" She looked over her shoulder, staring at the bloodied corpse of her brethren, turning back to Bill with a smile. "I didn't really like him. And besides, I don't like sharing." Bill choked back a cry as she slowly stepped closer to him, her face full of demented glee. "Sharing?" She giggled. "Yes, sharing. I hate sharing my meals." Suddenly, the mysterious aura around her diminished, and the world faded to black once more. Bill began screaming incessantly as she feasted on his flesh. Within moments, Bill was dead, and all that could be heard afterwards was the clown, laughing in the dark.